I'm Chris Erdman, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and today we have a really special guest, somebody that's quite accomplished and seems to live for the service industry because she just keeps climbing the ladder of serving our country and serving people, serving children, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So I just want everybody to welcome our guest, Alicia Quaco Olsen, a military veteran, healthcare executive, and community leader whose story is marked by service, discipline, and impact. Alicia was born and raised in San Diego, graduated from the United States Air Force Academy with an MBA, congratulations, and served as an officer in the U.S. Air Force, where she specialized in contract negotiations and rose to become a deputy director of contracts and pricing for the Defense Contract Management Agency. That's a tongue twister right there. She later transitioned into healthcare leadership, helping drive hospital supply chain and strategy, value-based care initiatives, and network leadership across Washington State. Along the way, she has been recognized in the Puget Sound Journal and the 425 magazine for being 40 under 40 honoree twice now. So I don't know who else has done anything like that. She's also serves as her community as the president of the Kirkland Chamber of Commerce, board of directors, and the president of the Kirkland National Little League. Alicia's a wife, a mother of two, and someone who continues to lead with excellence in every area of life. Wow, that's a lot going on there. And I just want to say, what an honor to have you on the show. And I'm really pleased that our good friend Tommy Wang from Columbia Bank has connected us, and he speaks so highly of you.
Oh, thank you, Chris. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks for making your way today. It wasn't rainy, so it was. How was the drive?
Great weather. It was good.
Great weather. Well, let's get right into it. There's so much to learn from you because I admire you because of your service and your leadership qualities, and you do it with a smile.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you were born and raised in San Diego. What did that season of life? How did that show up for you, and how did it make you who you are today?
I love San Diego. San Diego will always be my home. My mom still lives there. My best friends still live there. Was a surfer when I was younger.
Yeah.
My father was also the assistant sheriff of San Diego County, which I think also shaped kind of the life that I live today and what I've done with my career. Sure. But I still go back to visit often.
Okay. Well, it sounds like the answer is right in front of me, but tell me, who were some of your biggest influences in your life and how did they shape you?
Yeah, well, you said kind of a lot of things that I have done, and I think my family is a huge influence on that. Mm-hmm. I do have two brothers who are Army Special Forces, and like I mentioned, my father was also a police officer, and so I think our whole family has kind of strongly been focused on serving others in various ways. Yeah,
sounds like that. Did you just know as a young kid that you were going to go into the service, serve in the military?
I did, actually. If you look in my 7th grade yearbook, there's a quote from me saying, when I grow up, I'm going to fly airplanes in the U.S. Air Force.
Okay. Wow. So what age was that?
13.
At 13, you already knew what you wanted to do.
Knew what I wanted to do. I will say I did try to fly airplanes.
You did?
Tried to fly F-16s. Zero gravity did not do well on my little body. Oh. Passed out multiple times in the aircraft. So at that point knew that flying was not for me, but of course stuck it out with the Air Force and kind of went down a different career path.
Oh, wow. Sounds exciting. So what was that like learning to fly? One of the challenges was the body being able to handle zero gravity?
Exactly. Yeah, obviously a big challenge if your body just can't handle it. And I feel like at that point, it's telling you it's not for you.
Right. Yeah. So I haven't met too many people that knew what they wanted to do at a young age and just kept following through. What were the steps along the way that ensured that you were going to achieve this dream of yours?
Yeah, it's a great question because there was numerous steps that you have to go through. If you want to go to any military academy, it is actually very difficult to get into, and they only admit about 1,000 students every year. And so the process to get in, of course, they want well-rounded students. I graduated high school with my 4.3 GPA. I also had 4 varsity letters in high school and then just had various activities outside of school that I participated in. Took night classes at the college, taking Spanish classes, but also just other classes that I took, try to make my resume very well built. Additionally, you do have to get a nomination from a congressional leader, so from your Congress, from Senate or House. They have to write you a recommendation letter, which also includes going through an interview with them.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Was it, what was the stress level like as you're doing that? Or were you just did you have these natural abilities?
You know, you're a teenager. So
you seem like a superhero.
But I will say I'm a very determined individual. So if I say I'm going to do something and put my mind to it, I absolutely will do it.
Wow, that's really great to hear. And what a great role model, just to be, you say it and you just do it. Because you run into obstacles just like the rest of us do, right?
I do.
Yeah. What do you,
maybe more.
Probably more because you're putting yourself out there more. What do you tell yourself when you are up against those big obstacles?
You know, I get asked all the time. People will say, you know, how do you do multiple things? How do you do so many things within your life? I think that people make time for the things that are important in their lives. So, you know, I don't have time to watch TV at night, but that's because I am in so many different, you know, Little League and Chamber of Commerce and events, and then of course work as well. I just think that I'm able to manage it all because I make the time for the things that matter in my life.
Yeah, that brings me, I want to ask, like, what are the things that are most important in your life?
Well, it's baseball season.
Okay.
The number of hours I've spent building Little League teams over the last week is a lot. But the things that matter in my life, of course, I work in healthcare. And so my companies are very important to me. I'm the president for multiple value-based healthcare entities across Washington state. I absolutely love the team that I work with. Many of them I've worked with in healthcare for 11 years now. And we've kind of stuck it out moving from various companies to the one that I'm at now. But I'm also a mom. And so that is very important to me, that I make the time for my children and make the time for the things that they want to do. I'm not just the president of Kirkland National Little League, but I coach my daughter's kickball team. I coach my son's Rapid A baseball team. And then, like you mentioned, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, the president for their board of directors this year, and attending all of their events. So just a lot.
That is a lot. Well, you said before the show, one of the things you love to do is be busy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely be diving into your career right now that you're doing right now, but I want to back it up to kind of the Air Force and just know a little bit more. What did the Air Force teach you about yourself?
The Air Force really does mold you into the type of person that you are going to be. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you organization. It teaches you integrity and just to be a good person. I think one of the reasons I'm usually never stressed is that I know that I always make the right decision, or at least the decision that I believe is the right decision. And so as long as I'm acting with integrity and doing the right thing at all times, then I'm not stressed about the decisions that I make.
I love that. You know, that brings me to the question. It's like, I see a lot of entrepreneurs out there and they kind of like have 4 or 5 things in front of them. And in my opinion, most of them are not the wrong decision. You know, it's just making some sort of decision. What kind of advice do you have with your life experience that you make your way to make the right decision, or the decision that you feel like is going to serve you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, following your heart, doing what you believe is the right thing to do, I think is most important. Like you mentioned, we're all pulled in a million different directions and thinking about 100 different things at once. But I think, you know, doing what feels correct to you is what's going to help you prioritize those items in your life.
Yeah, I love that. Follow your heart. Yeah, do you have a technique for that? Because some people are like...
You just got to feel it, Chris.
You just got to feel it? Okay. Just take a deep breath and just kind of read yourself, right?
Yes.
I love that. And there might be 2 things that are in your heart, and you might only have time for one, right?
Yes.
And one could be right now and one could be later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are some of the tough things that you found out about yourself? Did you have any tough moments in the military that you're like, oh my gosh?
Realizing that flying was not for me was a difficult choice, but I'm extremely happy with the choice that I went going into contract negotiations. I think that has done very well for me. I just didn't know it at the time, so that was difficult. The Air Force Academy itself is a very difficult time. I got to see all of my girlfriends off at college in their sororities, and I had a curfew every night and had homework and was up till midnight every single night and up at 6 a.m. to be marching to breakfast. I didn't have a normal college life, but all of that being said, it leads you to something greater in life, and I'll always be appreciative of that.
I love that. Yeah, it sounds like it built character.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you just went, and it sounds like you made a quick decision that you wanted to get into contract negotiations. How did you decide on that, or how that become something in your life there?
Yeah, at the Air Force Academy, again, 1,000 kids in your graduating class, over half of them become pilots. So basically everyone that wants to be a pilot gets to be a pilot. Mm-hmm. The rest of us, they have a variety of different routes that you can go, whether it's intelligence or communications or security forces. I found that contracting was probably the best for me. I'm strangely good at negotiations. I think in my mind, negotiations is really about connecting with the people that you are working with. So building those relationships so that you all can see eye to eye. Negotiations to me is not a I win, you win type of thing. It shouldn't be a battle. It should be a how do we get to the end goal together. And so I think that contracting, negotiations, I think all of that was just kind of a path that felt very natural to me.
It seems like it's that contract and negotiations has served you pretty well throughout the rest of your careers.
It has, definitely. And I enjoy it.
You enjoy for those of us that want to learn a bit more about negotiations, do you actually teach classes on it?
I do not.
Okay.
There are so many books out there, so many podcasts you can listen to. But I would love to, I definitely do mentor other individuals. I've had a lot of individuals who have worked for me, who I've built up throughout their career and helped them progress further. And so I'm always willing to be a mentor to them.
Okay. Yeah. So walk me a little bit through negotiation, just a little bit more, because I'm fascinated by it. I've taken classes on it early on and continue to do so, but I feel like you always got to learn from somebody else, especially somebody that's operating at a high level. So how do you make everybody feel included because you're negotiating big contracts all the time right now and throughout your career? How do you, and with people with a lot of opinions and also possibly strong personalities?
Definitely. There's a huge difference in the types of negotiations you're doing. So one can be, I just need to get a better price on this one item. And that may be kind of a one-time transaction where you could be a little bit more aggressive in your approach. The contract negotiations that I work in today, or even with the Air Force, a lot of those were, I have to work with you for the next 2 to 3 years, depending on which vendor I select. So I want to have a very cordial negotiation to where we both enjoy each other's company.
For the next few years.
For the next couple of years. And even beyond that, if we have to renegotiate 3 years from now, I also want that negotiation to be a good one. And so, again, going back to building that relationship, but it's also, obviously has to be tailored to the type of negotiation that you are doing. If you're going in to negotiate the cost of your car, you can be as aggressive as you want. And feel free to walk away also.
Right.
That's very different than trying to negotiate a long-term partnership.
I love that. That's a totally different perspective than I think what most people consider what they're doing in lives. How has your contract negotiations helped you in your personal life with your family and your kids? Because kids are some of the best negotiators I've ever met.
They are very good. I will say some of the only people that I cave to are my children. And I should say my husband too.
Yeah.
But some of the only people I cave to are my children. My son is actually getting very good at negotiations. He's also an avid Pokemon collector, and so we go to card shows where he can buy Pokemon and loves to negotiate the price of those. But obviously, your kids have a special place in your heart, so it's different there.
Are you coaching him in some of these negotiations?
It's a family event.
Okay.
My husband also works in healthcare on the sales side. Okay. And so my husband and I would actually kind of bounce ideas off of each other early in our career. But my husband is actually better at coaching him through all of that. Oh,
that sounds so. You got the whole team working together.
The whole team.
I love that. It seems like you have a really great unit.
Definitely
in your household. Okay, so walk me. After the Air Force, you You got your MBA while you're at the Air Force, correct?
No, after the Air Force.
After the Air Force. Okay, walk me through what your next stage of life here from the Air Force to getting your MBA.
From the Air Force. So while I was in the Air Force, I moved around quite a bit to various states and various contracting entities. I got lucky enough to be stationed up here in Seattle at the Defense Contract Management Agency. I worked for DCMA on site at Boeing in Tukwila, negotiated their aircraft contracts that they had there.
Okay, what's DCMA stand for?
Defense Contract Management Agency.
Okay.
So it's an entity where Navy and Air Force come together. I know you mentioned you have some Navy in your family, where the entities come together to negotiate aircraft contracts together.
Oh, wonderful. That doesn't sound like a small job there.
It was quite large, actually, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic.
Go ahead. What was your daily like? Yeah.
Well, it was a little different because I actually moved here to Seattle. I didn't know anyone other than a few cousins that lived in the area. And so I moved here and I decided to try out to become a Seattle Seahawks cheerleader.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I made the team in 2013 and was a Seahawks cheerleader while I was a first lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. And so my day-to-day, I think, was different than everybody because I would go to work from 6 to 5 at Boeing on site there at DCMA. And then I would leave work and go straight over to Seagulls practice. And we would practice until 6 p.m. or from 6 p.m. until about midnight. And then I'd go home, get a little bit of sleep, and then do it all over again. So I think that was a little bit of a different lifestyle than most.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to get into that in the next session here. But wow, what a life. You're like going from corporate, military contract negotiations and to this cheerleading life, which I don't actually think it's probably that easy. There's probably a lot of challenges there as well, and with your schedule and whatnot, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. But I will say that was the most fun year I have ever had.
Oh, very, very cool. Okay, well, we're going to get back into it. So you've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and we're sitting here with Alicia Quaco Olsen. So I love the name. So stay tuned. We're going to get back into this and deeper parts of her life.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey,
We're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Don't ask me to talk.
There's a lot of talk out there. Political talk, sports talk, girl talk, trash talk, and so on. But there's only one, Don't Ask Me to Talk, helmed by conversational off-roaders and podcast pals Eric Ryder and Stacy Heller. They follow every tangent they encounter, from cultural blind spots to their infamous weekly Wheelo topics. Listen wherever you listen to your fave podcasts. Subscribe and share too. Or tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. or Tuesday at 4 p.m. on KKNW.
There's a reason they invented the internet. It's called 1150kknw.com.
All right, welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and we're sitting here today talking with Alicia Quaco Olsen, very much achieved woman, and we left it off where she was talking about how that she started with the Seattle Seahawks, or as a cheerleader for the Seagulls there. And from what I understand in our conversations, these tryouts start with 500 people trying out, and they end up with 30.
End up with 30 over 4 weeks.
Over 4 weeks. Do you want to walk us through like kind of this experience and then remind us how you decided to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So to be honest, I decided to try out just because I didn't, I just moved here and I didn't have a lot of girlfriends in the area and I wanted to meet new people. So showed out to tryouts, not really knowing what to expect, but they put you through a very rigorous process of doing solo performances, group performances, interviews. They actually ask you questions about football to make sure you understand the game. So you would be cheering for it. And through all of that, end up with 30 in the finals every year.
Oh my gosh. I just had to back up for a second. So a lot of us move into a new area and a lot of us are like, oh, I wish, I had some more community, some guy friends or some girlfriends around us and we'll join like a business group or go to a meetup. But I just got to pull the brakes. You said
try out for Seagals.
So you just went to the top. Like, tell me about this mindset and how did you choose that?
Well, so I was a cheerleader all throughout my life. And at the Air Force Academy, I was also on their POM team, their cheerleading team. So hadn't done it for a few years while I was moving around in the Air Force. But when I moved here and was actually stationed in a big city where they had a football team, decided I wanted to get back into it. And so it just felt like a very natural path. I will say I was very nervous when I was 24 at the time when I tried out. I was very nervous, but it all kind of comes back to the dancing and performing and everything else. And I'm just so happy I did it because it was a great year.
That seems like, so what made it such a great year?
We won the Super Bowl that year.
Okay.
So not only did the Seahawks have a phenomenal season in 2013, but in February, we made it to the Super Bowl. I was cheering on the field in New York with my 30 new best friends.
That's pretty amazing.
It was fantastic.
Yeah. So did you make a lot of new girlfriends there? Obviously 30. And you get to know the players a little bit too while you're...
Actually, not as much as you would think. Obviously, you kind of see them here and there, but not as much as you would think. We really were, our girl group of the 30 of us back then.
That's cool. And do you still hold on to these relationships today?
Oh, I do. We have regular reunions with, I should say, they used to be called the Seagals. They are now called the Seahawks Dancers, now that they have males involved. But we do reunions every year. We do showcases where the new team will perform for alumni. But then we also have some big events that all of us get invited to as well.
That sounds wonderful. How has the being part of the Seagals or the dancers now, how does that play a part in your career today? Do you guys you find yourself working with each other or helping each other at some sort of level?
It's interesting. I think we all kind of had very different career paths. I did just cheer for the 1 year. I cheered. We won the Super Bowl. After that, the Air Force told me it was you had so much fun and that's so great, but it was a lot. And so I went back to doing my Air Force duties just full time after that. But we all have different career paths. And so I think some of them ended up kind of working together in various areas. There's none of the Seagals today that I work with, but of course I still see them just because they're great friends of mine.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks for sharing this episode of your life. So take us through the next thing. What was the next big moment for your life?
Yeah. So after that, I did about another year and a half in the Air Force. I was promoted to a captain. And after I did my commitment with the Air Force, which was 5 years after the academy, I decided I wanted to get out and continue my career with contracts and negotiations. And so I knew I wanted to continue to help people. I wanted to continue to serve my community in some way. And so it's actually a very natural transition for a lot of people to go from military to healthcare because we feel as though the work that we are doing is making a difference.
And it is making a difference. So when you got into that and you started getting negotiations, where did you start off at and what were some of your challenges?
I started off at Overlake Hospital. Yeah. I started as their purchasing manager. About a year after that, I took on a few more roles, distribution, logistics. So was promoted to their supply chain manager. A few years after that, COVID hit.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the challenge coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Walk us through that because you played as a valuable role through this time because supply chains were stopping and the need for supplies just ramped up. The need was there.
Demand was there. I will say, I think this was one of the most pivotal times in my career because it was difficult, demanding, and I think that's when people can either shine or fall behind. And so during that time, COVID hit. Everything was shut down, like you said. We opened a command center at the hospital where I was probably working 20 hours a day to get people the necessary supplies that they needed, the masks and the gloves and everything else to keep running the hospital. The hospitals do not shut down. Everyone else did. Hospitals cannot shut down. So we had to keep caring for people, and there was just always a need for something else. And during that time, not only was I doing supply chain, but when you are in a crisis situation, you help wherever is needed. I spent time down in the sterile processing, cleaning equipment. I spent time in, taking out trash, just whatever is needed to keep things up and running.
Wow, that's about 20 hours a day. And then how long did this last for you, this 20 hours a day? Or this?
We did that for about, and it wasn't every day, I should say, but we did that for about 6 months in that command center. And we had a fantastic team there. All the hospitals just have fantastic employees that just want to be helping. And so the teams were fantastic. Everyone was, keeping us up. But yes, it lasted longer than you would have liked.
Yeah, absolutely. What's something that you learned about yourself and your team during this time?
Resilience. For sure. I learned I can survive on Red Bull easily.
Not recommended.
Not recommended. Yeah. But I think just the ability to problem solve even when there's no solution in sight.
Problem solve when there's no solution in sight. That's an interesting topic on its own. Kind of walk me through kind of that mindset when there's no solution, but you're just going to problem solve.
You figure it out. So COVID was unprecedented, right? We just didn't know how to handle a lot of things that happened during that time. There was no playbook for it. There was really just not a lot of answers, but we figured it out as we went. We called people, we, scrapped for resources. And not only that, hospitals are always part of a bigger system. So not only were we caring for our own hospital, but there's independent clinics that are out in the local area that we would also be supplying a product and masks and gloves with because they can't get it from these big distributors. And so just a lot of moving parts, and we figured it out.
Yeah. I remember there vaguely, I have a friend, Dr. Richard Way, up in Bellingham. And he's like, I remember he was calling around. He called me, Chris, we're running out of masks. And I'm like, wow, you're calling me.
Yeah.
First of all, they're shocked.
How can you help?
Yeah, how can I? So I remember that I started getting on the phone with anybody that I knew that owned a shop and just started collecting masks. I said, hey, this is what's happening. The doctor here in Bellingham, he's running out of masks and also gloves. If you have either, just can you supply them?
So great.
And I remember just getting a couple small boxes together and how grateful he was. And when I showed up to his practice, like how there was like people waiting out in the parking lot and how much need there was. And I could just imagine you're at a bigger facility and with the need with more population around, just what the need was. And you kind of forget about like what's hard and you just do it, right?
You just do it.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. The rest of your career was easy after that, right?
But like I said, I think that actually set me up very well because others recognized my ability to problem solve and get work done. So from there, a few years after COVID, I wanted to grow in my career. And so I decided to make the change over to value-based care. I was actually still with the hospital system that I was working for, but at that time, value-based care was really taking off. And
for those of us that don't know that, what is value-based care?
So value-based care is the shift from volume to value. So no longer are we focused on getting the patient in and charging the patient for their service that we provide. Now we're actually focused on outcomes. So not did I get the patient in, the question is, did I provide good quality care at a lower cost than others?
I love that. We all want value-based care.
Yes, everyone should. It really is the best thing for the patient. And so naturally for me, it just felt like another way to be able to help the community.
Yeah. So what was your daily like when you stepped into that?
So I stepped in as director of operations for a company called Eastside Health Network. And I did that for about a year. After that, the current president, who's still a great mentor of mine, decided to step away. And I knew that I wanted to be president of that company. I have a strong motto that you should always tell people what you want
Mm-hmm.
because nobody else knows exactly what you want other than you. And so I made a strong push to become president of that company. I remember calling all 18 board of directors to get
Mm-hmm.
on their calendar so I could advocate for myself on why I was the correct choice for that position, and eventually ended up moving into president for that company.
What a big role.
It was fantastic, though.
So let's back up a little bit. Like, tell people what you want. You know, I've run across a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to say anything because I just want to happen on my own, or I want it because of my hard work." And I love the fact that just voicing out to the universe and to people exactly what you want, because I think it increases the ability to achieve that.
Absolutely. I tell everyone who works for me, I said, if there's something that you want, if there's a career path that you would like to go down, you have to tell me so that I can help you get there. Yes, I'm sure that you could probably get there on your own, but let others help you. So I think it is important to voice what you want.
Where did you learn that from?
I think it's part of my drive. It's part of my, I guess, willingness to try to
The will to believe.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. I think that's a great lesson for everybody that's listening, is just like, if you want something in life, write it down, tell people.
Absolutely.
And try to hone in on exactly, because a lot of us want 10 things, but there might be only 1 or 2 things that we have time for at that moment.
Yes. One of the things I also try to voice to others is that you should not limit yourself just because others refuse to see your potential. So pushing hard for doing the things that you want to do, even if others don't see that that's something that you can do. I was in the military while I was a Sea Gal. I was president by the time I was 32 years old. Those type of things that people might not think is for you, but you know that you can do it. So,
right. Well, we're talking off the show that sometimes you utilize this as fuel. Like, if somebody doesn't believe in you, like sometimes you use that as fuel to charge you to do it.
I'm very competitive by nature. So
Okay.
absolutely. If someone says they don't believe that I can do something, I'm a strong believer in proving them wrong.
Yeah. Some people, it makes them mad if somebody doesn't believe. Does it make you mad, or does it just be like?
Doesn't make me mad. It fuels me in a way that wants me to do even better and even more than that.
Some people have a hard time channeling that energy. Do you have any suggestions on how to channel this positive energy when somebody doesn't believe in you?
Always positive, right? We should never be acting with malintent in any scenario. And so I think it goes back to just having that integrity, where if I feel as though I'm doing the right thing, no matter what it is and what I'm striving for and what I'm pushing for, I think that that's the correct path.
It's coming from your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me why you wanted to be president.
I wanted to continue to progress in my career, right? I have high aspirations of just kind of not having any ceiling on me. Every job that I'm at, while I do want to always be present in the moment and I want to appreciate the things that I have in my career and the things that I've done, I also want to know what's next. What are the next steps in my career? What are the next steps in my life? What else could I expand and be doing to be more fulfilled and have a great life and leave a great legacy?
I love that. So you're so goal-oriented. Do you feel like these goals that you're putting out there kind of help with experience joy and happiness in life, or?
I do, yes. But not just for myself. I hope it's also for my children, right?
Yeah.
They're the most important things in our lives. And so I'm hoping my 2 children see that in me and they kind of have the same thoughts about life and how they could do anything that they want to do. Right now, my daughter wants to be a princess and a ballerina and, everything else.
How do you support
you
this?
can be. Oh, absolutely. I'm like, yes, you can be a princess.
I love that. And then your son?
Oh, my son would like to be a baseball player, a soccer player, a football player.
Okay.
The list goes on. So I love it. Obviously, they're going to hone in at some point. But for me, I let them do whatever they would like to do.
Sure.
Not just, I know that I'm busy in my career, but my kids both do soccer. My daughter does hip hop and ballet. My kids both do baseball. Both my kids do Kids Strong. Every single night of the week, we have something that
What
we
is
are
Kids Strong?
doing. Kids Strong is the cutest thing. If you have never seen it, it's kind of like a mini CrossFit for kids.
Oh,
it's
really?
a workout class.
So it is CrossFit?
It is a little bit of a They flip tires, they climb ropes, they do all of that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I thank you for sharing this. Even like your work life and getting into your private life, I think it's very inspirational for all of us listening of just how to have this fresh perspective and setting goals. You're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and we've been here listening to Alicia Quaco Olsen and talk about her interesting life that she's led and with the successes and the lessons. We're going to continue after these messages, so stay tuned to get a little bit more of Alicia.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, JD, do you want to have a better life?
Yeah, doesn't everybody?
Yes, we do. How do I go about doing that?
A good place to start would be listening to our new show, Staying Power.
What's it about?
It's about all the ways we can overcome the challenges that we sometimes put in front of ourselves to live a better life.
Where can I find it?
You can listen to it on 1150 AM KKNW every Wednesday at 4 p.m. and Fridays at 9 a.m. or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's do this together every week on Staying Power.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdman. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, we explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150. Online at 1150kknw.com.
Welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and I'm sitting here with Alicia Quaco Olsen, and she's a sought-after professional here in the greater Seattle area. She's been sharing her life and her lessons, and she's going to share some wisdom with us. So just thank you for sharing your life story with us. I think it's really inspirational and really important for people that want to learn a different perspective and realizing somebody like you and the success that you hold, like you're giving it your all and you're running into issues. It's not handed to you.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah. Well, so I want to know a bit, like you were 40 under 40 2 times now. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
I was. I'm very thankful for that. I will say I work with some amazing individuals in healthcare, but also on the boards that I serve on. To be, awarded one of those, you do have to be nominated by other individuals. So I was nominated by the individuals who work for me. But I think all of those awards, they're given to people that are very well-rounded, right? They aren't single-laned. I think they try to give back to their community, but do it in multiple ways, not just with their work, but kind of everything else that they've incorporated into their life.
That's wonderful. So how'd you earn this twice? Can you walk me through that?
The first time I was nominated for the work that I did during COVID with the hospital. And again, just kind of stepping up and making sure that supply chain was doing what it needed to do during that interesting time.
That speaks volumes for itself right there.
Thank you. And then the second time was while I transitioned to a new company, while I transitioned to value-based care and just climbed the ladder very quickly in my career at that point. I went from manager to director to president in the matter of about 2 years.
In about 2 years?
2 years.
Wow. How do you do that? Like, how do you stay so focused to achieve your goals?
I know what I want.
Yeah, you voice what you want.
I definitely know what I want, and I make sure that I'm taking the necessary steps to get there and having the right support system to get there as well.
So does somebody like you, I heard you have a mentor, so you have mentors or coaches in your life?
Lots of mentors.
Can you tell me about that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. I've attended a lot of events. I love going to events out in the community. I find people that I admire for whatever quality it is. They've done great in their career or are just really great people.
Sure.
And I've asked them to mentor me. I've asked them to coach me and kind of learn from them what were their mistakes, if they had any, or what is their advice that they could give me. And so I've used multiple mentors over the last couple of years just to help me kind of build the career path that I've wanted.
Thanks for sharing. What is some of the best advice or the advice that stands out to you the most that you've gotten from your mentors over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think one of the best pieces of advice that I could give is that everyone is going to make mistakes. Again, going back to living with integrity, as long as you're doing what you feel is right, even if you make mistakes, the best thing to do, own up to it immediately and then figure out how to correct it. So nobody's perfect. And I think we all realize that, but it's just making sure that you're able to kind of figure it out while owning up to any mistakes that you do make.
Right. And if you're coming across somebody that has mistakes, give them grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other lessons you want to share?
I think I shared already, but, letting people know what you want so that they can help you in various ways. And then I love to tell people this, just make friends with everyone kind of along the way. It's one of the reasons I do events. It's one of the reasons I get out there in the community with the Kirkland Chamber of Commerce. We do a lot of events. We meet a lot of different people. I just like to have a strong community around me so that I know who to go to if I need something or who could support me in various ways. And so I always think networking is very important. Get out there, meet the people that live in your community, figure out who your best connections are.
I think that's brilliant. We were connected through Tommy Wang.
We were.
Yeah, who's part of...
We love Tommy. Tommy is our treasurer on our board of directors for the Kirkland Chamber of Commerce.
And nobody better for that position. So can you tell me a little bit about the Kirkland Chamber and what excites you? I know the networking, but tell me a bit more.
Yes, I live in Kirkland, so Kirkland is my home. I joined the board of directors about 8 years ago, and then COVID happened and things kind of got put on ice for a little bit. But I love the chamber because what they do is just support the community. So we support small businesses, but we just support community members in various ways. So we do that by bringing business to Kirkland. Kirkland is just the most beautiful city and has the most beautiful storefronts.
I have to agree.
And so we love hanging out there. But what the chamber does is it brings people to those new businesses or those old businesses. But we do luncheons where we get people to come and have lunch and get to know the businesses that are down there. Or we have wine walks where we get people to walk around downtown Kirkland with their wine. Not outside with the wine.
Yeah, what days does that happen on?
We have 2 wine walks every year. We do one in June and one in October. And they're so much fun. But what we do is we set up wine at various stores in downtown Kirkland. And you have your map and you go to those stores, you get your wine and you shop. And so it promotes business. It promotes economic vitality for those businesses. But also you just get to have fun with your friends.
Yeah, that's so great. Anything else that you want to share about the chamber that's really important for you?
Very important to me. Every year the past couple of years, I have chaired the Kirkland Fashion Show. This last year, I was also one of the hosts, along with my good friend Ryan James. So we hosted the fashion show, and this is my favorite event of the year. We do it down at the Woodmark every September.
Love that place.
This year, it's September 18th, if you'd like to be there. But it's my favorite event because not only are we promoting the businesses that sell clothes in Kirkland, we're bringing all of them together to showcase the amazing fashion that they have, but it also just brings out the best in people. People show up to the fashion show. They show up in their best outfits, in their best fashion, in their best style. And they show up to have a great time, but also just to meet other people and learn about what Kirkland has to offer.
I love it. And I love your excitement about this, and anytime I've gone to a Kirkland Chamber event, I got to say I've had a fantastic time.
Love that.
And I've always walked away meeting somebody new, or at least a few people actually.
That's great.
In fact, I should probably join it sometime.
You should.
So
everyone should.
Everybody should. How do people join?
Oh, they can reach out, info at Kirkland Chamber, or they could reach out to me. I'm happy to help them with that. But if you go to the Kirkland Chamber website, you can see all the events on there, and some of them are free to attend, even if you're not a member. It's just a good way to get your foot in the door and meet people and learn what they're all about. And you could talk to anyone at any of those events, and they could get you involved.
That sounds great. Well, this is going to get aired in the next couple of weeks. So coming here in spring, what is an event that you might recommend?
I think up next we have our wine walk. So
okay.
The wine walk, I believe it's June 24th, but that is in downtown Kirkland. Right after that is our golf tournament, which we do up at Echo Falls. I do play every year. I'm not good.
Okay.
But we have so much fun. And my team that I play with, we have the best outfits. And I think that's what really matters. But our golf tournament is in July, and then fashion show shortly after that in September.
Wow, sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun events happening.
Lots of fun events.
Okay. And then, so tell me, I got a question for you because the show's called Made of More.
Yes.
What does the term Made of More mean to you?
Made of More. I love that term because I think it fits very, very well into my lifestyle. It's about being more of you. So, going above and beyond, not putting limits on yourself, but actually thinking beyond even what you're doing today. And so not pigeonholing yourself into what you are or even what others think you could be. It's about going above and beyond and expanding even more.
Yeah, and telling people what you want.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so they can help you get there, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. So we know how to find the Kirkland Chamber. How do you want people to find you if they want to reach out and be a part of the chamber?
Oh, absolutely. I am on LinkedIn. I think that's the best place to find me. It is Alicia Quaco Olsen.
Yeah.
And so that's really the best way. And they can message me. Like I mentioned, I have tons of mentors. And so other people have reached out to me on LinkedIn asking me to mentor them. And so, feel free to find me on LinkedIn.
How much does it cost to get mentored by you?
No cost. No cost.
Okay.
I do it because I care about the community. I care about people.
I might have to hit you up for some training here.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank
Free
you.
for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Well, I got a few other questions as we're wrapping up here. Looking back, what season of life has stretched you the most?
Stretching me the most, I think I would have to probably go with the military. Stretched me, yes, but it also built me into the person that I am today. And that's just because military life is very strenuous. It's difficult on your body. It's difficult on your mind. It's just difficult in general, but it really does shape you into a great person and shape you into, the type of person, that can really do anything.
Yeah, it sounds like, well, being stretched is and experiencing trying times. That's what builds character, and you get to prove to yourself what you're made of, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I love that you did. And I got to say thank you on air thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big deal to me. Has there ever been a moment when you had to redefine success for yourself?
I don't have any regrets. I think that everything happens for a reason. I think that even though I had to redefine myself in the military when I couldn't be a pilot and win in contract negotiations, again, I think that was meant to be. I think it was for a reason. And so I don't have regrets in my career or in my life. I think what we do when we have to redefine ourselves or when we hit a roadblock is just to remember who we are, stay true to ourselves, and figure out how to get past it.
Yeah. Because we all experience something like that. So it's just that mindset that you're expressing. It's meant to be. And if you were a fighter pilot, you probably would have done some great things. But I just imagine through this contract negotiations and what person it molded you into for the healthcare and stepping up through COVID and working through everything with your team and doing those 20-hour days at times for 6 months, and just how that all came together. It's like really beautiful to me to kind of hear part of this path of yours.
Thank you.
For someone listening who wants to build a meaningful life and lead with integrity, what would you want them to think about or remember?
I think, staying true to yourself, not limiting yourself, but also building that community that can help you go even further. We talked about the mentors, but it's also about your friends. It's about your family. It's about those that are going to support you in the good times and the bad times. It's those that are going to show up for you. I have some fantastic friends who show up when I need them, and I would do the same for them. They know that I am not flaky. I will show up. If you need me there, I will be there. And so again, it's just that building that type of community is really important.
I like that. I love that so much. Because sometimes we try to support people from a distance or over the phone or maybe a like on social media, but that doesn't necessarily really count, right? It's actually showing up at their doorstep, even when they didn't ask you to.
Exactly. Some of my closest friends are still in San Diego, and they know if they send me an invite to their child's birthday party, I will get on a plane and I will come down there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Auntie Alicia was going down there with some presents, right?
Always.
What really impresses me, not only are you just a successful businesswoman that really attacks things with a smile and joy on your face. I just love that. But you're also really a mom at heart. And when I hear you talk about your family, your husband and your kids, it's just really inspiring to see. I don't know if it's equal. I actually think you like your kids more than the work. So,
of course.
Yeah. What do you want them to walk away with, when they turn back on life and they're in their 20s or 30s and from this era of being raised?
Yeah, I hope that my kids are proud of me. I hope that my kids are proud of where they come from. I think me and my husband, Chad, have given them a great life so far. They're still young, but I want them just to know that they could absolutely do anything in this world. And I hope that they're inspired by both me and my husband, that we've been very successful in our careers, but we never let that detract from being great parents. Yeah. Just being well-rounded, and making sure that they're always my top priority, but always being well-rounded and being involved in a variety of different things.
I love that. And how, you may have already answered, but how do you keep them that top priority? It seems like, it's a challenge for most, no matter how involved you are in your career.
Yep.
But you do it, and you're doing it. What is that piece that's in your mind that keeps them top priority?
Yeah, I'll go back to, I think people make time for the things that matter in their life, and they matter. They always will. So they are involved in all the activities and all of the sports, and I will be at every game, and I will be at every ballet recital, and I will just always be there for them to support them and tell them that they can do whatever they want in life.
I love that. Just to hear that voice coming from a parent or somebody that you look up to, that you can do it. I mean, that's more impactful than what most people can even fathom, is just hearing that you can do it from the ones that love them. So I think that you guys are doing an amazing job. And I ask these questions more because I just want people to hear it and be inspired by some career-driven people and also that are family-driven. So.
Yeah, I will say corporate life, it's not built for being a mom. It's not built for being a mom because someone has to get them to school and someone has to make their lunches and get them to their baseball and their ballet and soccer and all of that. But you figure out how to make it work. You figure out how to make it work for yourself and make it work for your kids. And I think as long as, you're putting your priorities first, which is my kids, then you can figure it out.
That's right. And you do that by following your heart. I've heard you say it a few times now.
I love that. Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. Well, you've been listening to the show Made of More. Alicia, I just want to say thank you for taking the time today. And I know you got a lot going on, obviously, with family and career, but you took your time today to get your message out there to everybody. And that just means so much to everybody that's listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. It was great to be here.
Yeah, thank you. All right, you've been listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdman, and we've been talking with Alicia Quaco Olsen, who's doing some amazing things. So if you're interested, she gave you her LinkedIn. You could join her at the Chamber of Commerce for Kirkland, and you could go dress up in the fashion show she'll take you on. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdman. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.